In this edition of Detroit Performs, the women of Detroit show off their skills.
The women here are dynamic creatively, like the most creatively dynamic women I've ever met.
An artist taps into his multicultural life to create.
I was born in Zimbabwe, and my father started teaching art in high school, and he was my art teacher, and I guess I just followed the family business, become an artist.
The man behind a superhero is revealed.
When I get a note or email saying, Mr. Bellman, you made me happy with your work, it's framed, this means more to me than anything else.
And Critic Car Detroit shares with us some more citizen reviews. It's all ahead on today's episode of Detroit Performs.
Major funding for Detroit Performs is provided by the McGregor Fund. Additional funding is provided by the Michigan Council for Arts and Cultural Affairs and the National Endowment for the Arts, and by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to Detroit Performs. I am your host, DJ Oliver, and we're at the Bonstelle, my alma mater, Wayne State's other performance theater, along with the Hillberry. We're at this theater to demonstrate how everyone performs through their life, careers, their art. Our artists today perform with each piece of clay molded and character drawn, and well, we'll get to all of them throughout the show. First up, Detroit is a place that attracts a certain type of individual, someone that's both tough and independent. It's especially true for the women that have chosen to stake their claim in the city. Fearless, talented, and ambitious. Here are the women performing every day to shape Detroit's future in A Girl's Guide to Detroit.
Detroit has plenty of really beautiful neighborhoods. They have a bunch of stuff that a lot of people don't really know about. Really cool stuff.
I feel like everyone that I know that's a woman in Detroit, they do more than one thing creatively. You can't meet a woman who just paints. She has to paint, dance, teach yoga, and she makes everything that she wears. That's the women here are dynamic creatively, the most creatively dynamic women I've ever met.
My name is Sarah Aldrich. I've been really fortunate to kind of find my niche in this city. I've kind of come to know some really fantastic people that are doing really fantastic things. I met Amy Carroll, aka DJ Amy Dreamcatcher, a little bit close to 2 years ago, and her and I were starting to play records. When we first started, it was basically Amy and I wanted to throw parties, and we didn't want to clean up after other people. Kind of joined forces and put together a monthly, which we do every second Saturday at the Old Miami. It's been really a chance for her and I to hone our skills as DJs, but to also give other female DJs in the city a platform to come and play records. The intentions were really to have a party that was having just a real open door policy of women, men, black, white, straight, gay, students, professionals kind of coming together for us to experience great music and to give other ladies a chance to kind of feel where they're going with DJing and to be open to everybody.
Hi, this is Violet from WWJ News Radio. Well, I think living in the city makes me a better reporter. I kind of can bring a lot to the table where I work just because I live down here, and I think, having a harder edge and being less willing to take people's crap, am I allowed to swear in this? Makes me a better reporter. I cut to the chase more, but at the same time, you want to be extremely friendly, but I can kind of navigate situations and all different types of people better as a reporter. Oh, see, they're leading with the teens crashing into garage, just like I was saying, because it's a beautiful video. I put the story second. I'm just watching the news to see what they're leading with versus us, to make sure we're not missing anything, because they have full news staffs and we have me. I think it's more so I feel like I have a major stake in what goes on in the city, being I'm still young and I still have this mentality that I can change the world or something, so I want to get the specific stories that I think matter.
is Manny Moran, and I'm from California, but we're in Lafayette Park in Detroit. This is, I would say, one of my favorite places I've ever lived, easily. And when my sister from California recently visited, she was like, oh my goodness, you would be paying at least $2,500 in San Francisco or LA to live here. And I pay $560, everything except for electricity. Another reason why Detroit appealed to me is because I heard that it was one of the most interesting places to be a storyteller, because it's such a dramatic backdrop, what's happening here. I would say this climate is way less competitive than Los Angeles. And I think a lot of it has to do with the intimacy of the size. A small town in the comforting ways, but not in the like holding you back ways. And when there's less people, you tend to care about each other more, I think, and look out for each other more. It's developed into a really great support network, whether it's like screening footage, networking, nerdy questions about gear, just to be surrounded by people that have, common interests is great.
I am Brandy Keeler. I'm doing a lot of things today. I do full-time work for Team Detroit. I do marketing and branding for local musicians still, Jessica Caramore, Mike Ellison. Detroit City, Doc Illingsworth. I do marketing and branding for Detroit Bike and Brunch, which is a nonprofit health group that was started last year with a few friends. And we wanted to be different from the other biking groups in Detroit, where it's mostly not about biking, but it's mostly about healthy lifestyle choices and building healthy communities and healthier economy in Detroit. It's been really inspiring. There have been mothers who joined the group who haven't ridden their bikes in like 12 years, who now like carry their babies to work in tow on a bike. And there's a lot of movement happening in the city of Detroit right now. There are a lot of initiatives in place and a lot of groups in place to make Detroit a greater place to live and work and be.
Gold thing.
For like pictures, like see anything?
No. So my name is Marisol Teachworth, and today we're celebrating the 20th year anniversary of Detroit Summer. Detroit Summer is a youth organization that has been re-spiriting the city of Detroit for 20 years. We're on the verge of an earth shift. Another Detroit is happening, energetic and ready to work, and they're proud of where they come from. One of the most beautiful things about Detroit is that the youth are coming together to say, if we want to see the change, we have to be the change. At first, there was a lot of, like with the young girls, there was a lot of competition. Why are you looking at me, or you don't know me? Just sort of this like, I don't trust you. Through working with Detroit Summer and other youth in the network, all of that has disappeared. Now it's like, oh, you're from the North End, you're from Earthworks, you're from Feed 'em Freedom, you're from 5E Gallery. Like naming your area or naming your garden, and instead of a sense of fear or competition, it's like, I love you, and I'm ready to work with you, let's go.
I moved down to Detroit because it just had more to offer. My first master's is in public policy at University of Michigan. So basically local government, focusing on how to run it and urban planning. And I decided to do the dual program in Canada to get a master's in political science so that I could teach. In the Detroit area, it is interesting. I think that because you have to be more aware just in general in this area, women tend to watch out for each other a little bit more, and they tend to form closer bonds. A lot of strong women and a lot of strong women personalities reside in this area because they can. Here is where you come to make your own. And all these strong women are coming out and starting businesses and doing all this stuff and sticking together and watching out for each other.
I feel like what I think about Detroit is contrary to what people see, because people think like of destruction. All I've seen is constant building, like from youth. Always seen people giving and helping and building and creating together. I can't imagine a place more open to the creative community, more open to helping, and I want to be here to reciprocate that creative vibe,
It's amazing that there are so many strong females modeling a healthy lifestyle and healthy relationships for the next generation of females.
I feel like everybody kind of has a fair chance here and starts on an even ground, and it's what you make of it, and it's how much time and energy and effort you put into it.
Like the community of people here is incredibly supportive. And I've never found that in any other city I've lived in, not even close.
How about one last question?
Okay.
Do you like being a girl?
Yeah. Alright, so I like being a girl because I know that, like, back then, like, a bunch of people were like, girls can't drive, they don't have good decisions, so they can't vote. Or people say that, like, girls can't do this, and they're not good enough to do this, and they can't work, they can't play these certain games. And now, like, even though that is waned away, I know that it's still there, and me and other girls alike need to prove that we have a lot more potential than people see us as. I know places we can go, babe. I know places we can go, babe. I know places we can go, babe. Coming home, come unfold, babe.
You can learn more about A Girl's Guide to Detroit on DetroitPerforms.org. Chido Johnson was born and raised in Zimbabwe and is now living in Detroit, teaching at the Center for Creative Studies. Here he shows how he applies both cultures in his artwork.
I was born in Zimbabwe. This was a time when Zimbabwe was not independent at the time. It was called Rhodesia. So I was born in Nyaidiri, Mutoko, which was a mission that my parents worked at. They didn't fit in the mold of, I guess, stereotypical missionaries. They didn't follow the existing government laws, which was apartheid. They sent their kids to African schools too, which was a no-no. And my father started doing political cartoons for a revolutionary paper at the time, or a paper that was sympathetic to the revolution. And one of his cartoons became national, or international, should I say, where it became highly critical. And that led to his deportation. Another mission that my parents worked at. My mother was the doctor. We lived by the hospital, and my father started teaching art in high school. So as I mentioned, was my art teacher, and I guess I just followed the family business, you know, become an artist. I never questioned being an artist. That was something I wanted to do ever since I was a kid. I am coming from a very hands-on rural childhood, as well as carving stone. The object is very important to me. I'm very excited. I'm very interested in the object, but I'm very interested in a search for something really real in the object, and not something that's just place meaning on it through borrowed histories and borrowed experiences. I feel like there's a desire for me to have a real exchanged experiences through its production, and that's what I'm searching for right now. If I have my perception, you have your perception, and we all have this perception to the world, I think I can learn more from that perception coming from you and how it impacts my perception, if that's what it's all about. It's just conversations between us. It was, I think I felt my role as an artist before Detroit, pre-Detroit. I felt like I had a purpose and role to express a voice that it could have been not as my voice, but a shared voices that were not heard. I felt was not heard enough. And when I came to Detroit, it was like, wow, it was kind of pointless. I was like talking to a choir. And people in Detroit know what it means to struggle. They know what it means they know what blues music is. They know that's their daily life. So suddenly I realized that my work had to shift. And that's where it shifted, being in Detroit. Yeah, teaching art is very difficult. If there's any way I can help assist somebody to help clarify their perception and how it's connected to a wider conversation. Artists have to really believe themselves to survive. So it does, in a weird way, can turn into almost a religion because one has to really believe in it too, because otherwise, if you're not getting funding, you're not getting the cultural support that you need to sustain oneself, how are you going to continue? I started out carving stone underneath the tree. I love carving stone, I love that process, and I love the object. But I realized what I loved very much was sitting next to somebody else. I grew up where we carved in the tree, the sunlight, we're outside, laughing, carving all day. And I missed was that hanging out conversation, that thing we talked about, that inspired us to make the work. Suddenly, we come studio-based artists, we hide in the studio, we make this stuff, and we take it out, throw it out, and we hide and show it. And it's like, and I realized that that's not why I made art. I love to make art too, for this conversation, that it's about you and me. It's us. Let's talk about this, let's share this. And so any way I can do that, that still feels really real and personal to me, not this external great idea, but all the projects come from very personal spaces, something that's very dear to me. So I'm even as I'm bringing people in, it's something that's very emotional to me that I have to open up to share with them. And I think hopefully they open up to share with me, and hopefully we have this really real conversation that occurs.
To find out more about Chido, as well as all the other artists highlighted today, head to DetroitPerforms.org. These days it seems superheroes are everywhere, leaping off the page and into big screen blockbusters and beyond. But before, comic book heroes were meant to thrill audiences in a simpler way. Enter Allen Bellman, a young man who loved to doodle. Today, a mild-mannered South Florida retiree, but will reveal his secret identity as a man whose performance in drawing Captain America captivated the country.
My name is Allen Bellman, and I worked for Timely Marvel Comics in 1942. I started doing backgrounds for Captain America. I always wanted to draw comics. My father had a bakery. Every chance I had, I'd draw on the paper bag. And I'd open a book and there was a white space in a hard-covered book. I'd draw in there. It's just something you have in you. It was Columbus Day, 1942. And I said to my dad, I says, I'll go tomorrow, it's a holiday. He said, no, you go today. I said, Dad, and we went back and forth, and he won. And I thank my dear dad, because I don't know where I'd be now if I didn't listen to him. Because I got that job in 10, 15 minutes. They said, you start Monday. I went to the High School of Industrial Art, and I went on and off at night at Pratt Institute. But actually, it was on the job that I got my training and the ability to improve, the opportunity to keep improving my work. And I always worked and strived to have a better job. I was never really ever happy, whatever I do, even now. I always feel I could do better, more and more, but when I do a drawing for a fan, I want it to be good. I'm so happy to draw it the old way, because this is what the fans want. When I get a note or email saying, Mr. Bellman, you made me happy with your work, it's framed, this means more to me than anything else. It's just a personal gratification that I get, that I can make someone happy with just my art. They like my art. Some stories I love to do more than other stories. It's like an actor getting a script, and they read the script and they say, not for me, and they give it to somebody else, it becomes a big hit, but the fact is, it's the same thing. But certain stories just would motivate me more than other scripts. Doing a comic book or doing any kind of comic strip is doing a movie. You have your long shot, your close-up, your bird's eye view, worm's eye view. You have to change each panel so you keep the interest of the reader. A lot is left to the imagination, and the writer would describe saying have them drinking or something to that effect, but use your own imagination. Like I said, it's like doing a movie, and you have to think as a movie with still pictures. There was one book already written about the comic book industry, but it came and went. But I had spoken to many writers. I said, why don't you write a book about the comic book industry? Everyone had a story to tell. You're living in the best country of the world. The opportunities are here. You cannot give up. You cannot surrender with rejection, because you will hit somewhere. Learn how to draw. Do not copy the comic book characters, because you'll never learn to draw. Learn how to draw anatomy, a woman's anatomy, a man's anatomy. So when you put the costume on a man, you will know where the muscles are. You'll know where the hands are. I always wanted to draw and tell a story in pictures. And my dream came true at the tender age of 18.
To find out more about Allen Bellman, head to DetroitPerforms.org. Now here are some upcoming events happening in and around Detroit. Let's see what the mobile arts journalism team, Critic Car Detroit, has been up to.
Hi, I'm Jim Leinbach.
Hi, Camille.
And this is our first time at Theater Bazaar. And
we're excited to be here. We wanted to come and check out all the costumes and all the creativity. Just the whole feel of the place is wonderful. It's very dark, it's very moody. And actually, I'm so glad that that this building's still here and it's being utilized.
Yeah. And as far as costumes go, Camille did all of the makeup. And
I love doing face painting.
You can view more of Critic Car Detroit's citizen reviews on their Facebook page and YouTube channel, which you can find through DetroitPerforms.org. And that wraps it up for this edition of Detroit Performs. For more arts and culture, head to DetroitPerforms.org, where you'll find featured videos, blogs, and information on upcoming arts events. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. I'd like to thank the Bonstelle Theater for having us out here today and invite you to check out the performances they're presenting this season. Until next time, get out there and show the world how Detroit performs, y'all. I am DJ Oliver. Thanks for watching, guys.
Major funding for Detroit Performs is provided by the McGregor Fund. Additional funding is provided by the Michigan Council for Arts and Cultural Affairs and the National Endowment for the Arts, and by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.